Hello and welcome to Markets with Megan. I am Megan Horneman, the Chief Investment Officer for Verdence Capital Advisors. And today we want to talk a little bit about the news surrounding Russia's decision to exit the deal they had with Ukraine, the Black Sea Initiative. And what this was a deal that allowed Ukraine to freely use the Black Sea to transport exports around the world, specifically to a lot of the very lower income countries. Remember that Ukraine is one of the biggest grains producers and grains exporters. So they needed to use the Black Sea in order to transport their goods. And Russia decided that they were going to exit this deal, which means that any ships moving within the Black Sea are considered military aid towards Ukraine, and Russia can take action on them. So why is this important from an economic and investment standpoint? A couple things. As I mentioned, Ukraine's one of the biggest exporters of grains, fertilizer, oilseed, and the lower income nations. So in the emerging markets, this was extraordinarily important for them to export this food to them, especially because they're already in food insecure countries. Without these exports, this is dangerous for these emerging market economies, but it can have ripple effects around the world as well. And we're seeing that this week with the spike we've seen in wheat prices, for example. They're up about 7% this week alone. This can have an impact on inflation, food inflation. Remember, farmers around the world use fertilizer. They use grains to not only fuel their farms, but also feed their animals. So we're watching this closely and seeing the developments on this. There is news that they might strike a secondary deal, but for this time, this is dangerous. This is one of those things that we talked about when it comes to inflation, where there's no room for error. And if we do get another spike up in food prices, this puts more pressure on the central banks, and they may have to continue to take actions. So we'll watch this closely, but we just wanted to make you aware of the headlines and what that meant for the economy. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to podcast@verdence.com.